welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard, and joining me today, or tomorrow, or next week, because it depends when you're listening, really. They are officially a repeat offender. It is from Weird Giraffe Games. It is Carla Kopp. So hello.
Hey, I'm so happy to be on.
Let's talk Stellar Leap first of all. What happened with that? Because last time we spoke, you were just about to start with that. So that got funded, but let's catch up with that. How's that going? How's the process going for actually getting this out to the backers at the moment?
So we are just about ready to say yes to manufacturing. I actually did say yes to manufacturing. Like, they asked me and they're like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "I'm ready." And they're like, "Okay, we're gonna send you something to look over." And I was like, "What? But you already sent me a thing to look over." But we're doing the check again, and then actually I should be getting it tomorrow, and I should just be able to go through everything and check it off and then say yes to manufacturing. And then they said that hopefully it will be fully manufactured on April 20th, which is like a month from now. It's very exciting.
When you're doing something like this, I mean, is this a completely another set of skills that you're having to learn as well? Do you have to learn about kind of bleed on things and production, or are you getting the final kind of production copy in kind of a white box so you can look over stuff? Because there's certain processes that go through. I know of some people that get a box full of blank shapes that don't have any colour on them. I know other people that get the box of the final production of the game. So what kind of thing did they send you over first? Was it the blanks, or was it an actual, this is what all the printed matter's going to look like? I mean, what were they kind of sending you?
Okay, so the first time they sent me a box, they sent me both. They sent me the blank stuff so that I would know the quality that they would be doing, but then they also sent me all the colored versions so I would be able to look it over and see things. And that was very good for them to do, because there were a couple mistakes on things, backs were flipped, or different, cards that were supposed to have the same back had slightly different backs, which was not, that's a no-go for things. So yeah, it is a whole different set of skills. I've done this before. I've done it once with a little card game. So I went into it and I knew about things like bleed and stuff, but I did not know about all the rest of it, meeples. Custom meeples are really cool, and they're really easy, actually. I just had to get a meeple artist to make a drawing, and then to say how, big I wanted it to be, and what colors. I just gave them a hex code of a color, and then I get these, awesome meeples that are exactly what I wanted. So that was, no learning, just, I think this is how this goes, and it worked. But there was more learning to be had. I wanted to do dual layer player boards. Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I decided to do those, and I did not know the amount of effort it would be to create them. Getting the box and opening it and taking out that dual layer player board was an amazing feeling, and then the next amazing feeling was putting the cubes into the dual layer part and being whoa, this fits. It fit, and it fit really well. It was great. I was just so amazed, because the actual process of creating the dual layer player boards, that took a month. That was January. It seemed every day I was getting something that I did wrong, and then I'd go talk to our artist and he'd fix it, and I'd send it back, and oh no, I did something wrong again. And it was it was so much. And the thing about it is that things were changing. First we had to get it the artist there had to check it off, and then the people that actually manufactured had to check it off, and each person had a different set of requirements. And I thought the bleed on that was just gonna wreck me, because they say it'll go 2 millimeters in either direction, and when you want to create a space that is 8 millimeters deep, but like both of the things can change by 2 millimeters. Does that mean it'll come out either 4 millimeters or 12? Like, I was like, I don't, like, understand, like, what you want from me. Like, I want it exactly like this, and they wanted to make sure everything was, you know, like, there wasn't any sort of art or anything, like, how they talked about it, like, I got so worried. I was so worried that, like, their processes, like, just would go off, and nothing would work out. But then it came, and it was perfect, so... You know, now I know, and now I know, like, all the hassle that goes into that. Like, it's not just a cost, like a monetary cost. It'll be, like, a time and stress cost. Because, like, well, I wish I could do graphics, but I can't. So, like, I had to take what the manufacturer said and kind of translate it to my artist. And, like, that not, like, it doesn't always work as well as you think it will. So, and I was also using an artist that wasn't a board game artist. Like, maybe a board game artist would just know things. Like, like, he did know things about, like, bleed. Like, he'd done, like, physical printing before. So he knew that. But, like, dual-layer player boards, those are, like, games only. And only, like, specific board games.
So, I mean, is there a cross thing with jargon as well? I mean, is it a case that you got to kind of sometimes decipher the kind of the jargon, or the manufacturers, are they pretty good at kind of putting it in kind of simple terms? And I mean, I don't mean simple terms as in lack of intelligence. I mean in simple terms as in making it kind of crystal clear without flooding the kind of your ears or your eyes with jargon.
Not always. So we got to a point where they started putting pictures and stuff, and they would circle things, and, like, they would say words, and I would still be like, I don't, like, I'm looking at this picture, and I just don't understand what they want. So I'd have to, like, go back and forth and be like, okay, I read this, and this is what I think I should do. Do you agree with this statement? Because, like, I didn't want to waste the time of my artist, because, like, there was a couple times where I was like, I think I understand, and I told them what to do, and then it's like, no, you still didn't do the thing. So, yeah, it's definitely a learning process.
Are you enjoying it, though? You sound like you're enjoying it, though.
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't enjoy the whole dual-layer player board thing. Like, that was... I am definitely going to not, like, put it in every game that I make. But other than that, yes, I really enjoy, like, the publishing and designing parts of it.
Is that giving you a kind of a different way of maybe tackling the design side of things for the next game, for Fire in the Library?
Not really. That Fire in the Library is a more simple game, and like, it just didn't lend itself to dual-layer player boards, and I could have made custom meeples, but, well, I really wanted to, and then I was like, what does a librarian look like? They look like people, and that's a regular meeple, so I could just go with the regular meeple? Like, I could, like, maybe, I don't know, put a hat on them, but not every librarian wears a hat or has glasses or something. It would just be, like, more effort to try to make it more librarian-ish, and then there'd always be that person that's like, I'm a librarian, and I can't, like, I'm not this.
I'm not identifying with that. It's a very... It is, isn't it? See, when you get into identity things, if you say, well, this is a stereotypical thing, you'll get 1,000 people screaming at you saying, let's not do stereotypes here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a good place to be in. I mean, going back to Stellar Leap, I mean, when we spoke, it wasn't officially existing. I mean, it wasn't funded. I mean, looking back now, obviously you've had some time looking back on the campaign. Were you pleased with how the campaign was run? Was there anything that you've learned going into the next campaign? I'm guessing Fire in the Library is going to Kickstarter as well, yeah? Yes,
it's actually starting tomorrow, actually, so I am...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's intense. I have to, like, finish my giant checklist of things, hopefully, tonight. But I did learn a lot from Stellar Leap. One of the main things was that I wanted to be way more prepared than I was for Stellar Leap. For instance, I think we talked in the middle of the campaign versus now where I wanted to talk before the campaign started so that, during the campaign, like, so much stuff is going on and you have to, like, talk with so much people and, just deal with all the comments and all the different things that are going on. Like, doing the interviews before all the hecticness starts, I really wanted to do that. And I think I did that. Like, I am so much more prepared, for this Kickstarter than I was for Stellar Leap. Like, not that I was, like, super unprepared. I thought I was prepared, and I just, I found a couple ways to improve the process a little, I hope.
Were you prepared for the kind of the interest in the community? Because you kind of created a nice little community on the Kickstarter. Were you prepared for how much interaction was expected on, like, say, the comments side of things?
I'm not sure. Like, I managed to cope with it. I dedicated, like, a certain amount of each day to dealing with the comments, but, like, I was very happy with how many people actually commented and participated in different things. Like, it was really fun, actually. Just how many people I got to know. I've gotten to know people on Twitter, but, like, for my first Kickstarter campaign, like, I didn't really get to know anyone via Kickstarter. They already knew me. But in Stellar Leap, like, I made some friends just based on, like, we were commenting back and forth, and then I started messaging them, and, like, now it feels like I kind of know them. So that was a really cool thing. I hope it happens again, where somebody just finds me on Kickstarter, and then we can start talking about stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, because you've kind of, your name's become pretty well known in the Twitter sphere of board games as well. I mean, I know that every time you've been posting something about Fire in the Library, it's always coming up on kind of notifications to say, Carla Kopp's just tweeted about this, Weird Giraffe Games just tweeted like this, and it's like you've got lots and lots of likes and lots of retweets, and you've got a lot of interaction on Twitter. So has that also been like a pleasant kind of side, I guess, a pleasant kind of side thing that's come along with it as well?
Well, I think, like you saying that is really cool. Like, I think one of my issues is I tend not to see my own success, if you will. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a certain amount of confidence in myself, but maybe I don't take enough time to be like, whoa, that tweet got, like, 40 likes, or, like, even to pay attention to that. Like, well, because I respond to people and stuff, but I guess I don't take time to notice things. Here's a question for you. And one of the things that's been kind of highlighted repeatedly is, let's highlight kind of like a woman creator in the board game kind of space. And, I mean, your name does come up an awful lot, again and again and again. From your point of view, would you prefer just to be kind of said, well, I don't want to be kind of highlighted as, here's someone special because they're female. I want to be highlighted as, here's someone special because they've created a fantastic playable game? I think I'd prefer to be, the fantastic playable game. But, I mean, I don't mind the whole woman thing. I do think that women designers kind of are at a disadvantage. Like, if you've ever gone to a big convention in an unpub room, there's not a lot of women. It was actually kind of, I don't know if it was cool or weird, but, like, I was in an unpub room at PAX Unplugged, and one of the guys was like, whoa, there's two lady designers that are talking to each other and playing each other's games. We have to take a picture because this is awesome. Because I guess they'd never seen, like, two women designers together. It was, like, the anomaly of the whole thing. But, like, being highlighted as a woman, I think is really cool because, I'd like other women to see that I am doing things and creating games and, to get more confidence in themselves, so that they can see, like, hey, somebody like me is doing this. You can, be successful as a woman in board games. So maybe I'll take that like jump
Okay.
and do it. I know like me seeing other like women creators has been really awesome. Like Suzanne and Mandy, like just seeing them in like just the Twitter community and stuff. Like, it's given me a lot more confidence over the past year or so to, like, be open and honest and, like, to reveal as much as I do about myself.
Yeah. 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 No, it's just a question, because I've seen, as I say, I've seen a lot of, you become, I would say Twitter famous, but I'm going to say you become well known. I mean, from the person that I spoke to originally, you know, when we first were speaking about Stellar Leap, or even before Stellar Leap, you had a kind of a presence on Twitter, but I don't think you had the kind of the presence there is kind of now, where it's kind of like, okay, there's a lot of excitement for Fire in the Library. I mean, you seem to have the social media people. There's a lot of people aware about, you know, what Carla's doing next. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about Fire in the Library. I mean, first of all, I mean, are you kind of more, because of the success of Stellar Leap, are you kind of more confident about what you're going to do with Fire in the Library?
I would say yes. Like, I am super confident in Fire in the Library. Not only because I've gotten to see all the reviews and quotes from people, because, like, they're all, like, really fantastic. Like, people really honestly like the game. But I also have a lot of people helping out with, Fire in the Library. Like you say that there's a lot of people talking about Fire in the Library, and that's not just because of me. I also managed to get Beth Sobel to do the art, and people love Beth's art because it's so great. And then, like,
I've seen some of Beth's art today, actually. But
So,
no, she did. She was in Herbaceous. She did Herbaceous, didn't she?
And
she also did
viticulture?
Sunset Over Water as well, which were two of Oh yeah, of course, viticulture as well.
And lanterns.
But, I know. Was that exciting to get her to be doing the art for Fire in the Library?
Oh, it was super exciting. Like, I was just over the moon. Like, because she offered to do the art. Like, I didn't approach her because, well, she's Beth, and I had just assumed, you know, she was too busy for, like, a smaller publisher like me, so... But then she approached me, and I was like, yes, please do the art. Like, here's what I need. I am just so fantastic. Like over the moon right now.
Were you kind of sitting there, kind of like having a kind of a Wayne and Garth moment from Wayne's World, going, and here I am, talking to Beth Sobel about her doing art for my next game. Okay. And they just picture of you running down the street with your arms kind of flailing in the air, kind of jumping for joy. But I mean, that's kind of pretty cool. How did the idea come around?
So, Fire in the Library is actually not a game that was designed by me. It was designed by Tony Miller and John Prather, and I got to know them just by going to conventions and being part of Twitter and stuff. And I was able to playtest the game over the last couple years. And finally, like, after Stellar Leap was successful, I went to Tony and I offered to sign Fire in the Library. And he said yes, so we started working together.
This is Tony Miller, that's the bearded rogue.
Yeah, he's also on Breaking Into Board Games.
Yeah, he's kind of known for his wonderful purple hair.
Yes, he is indeed.
So did you just kind of approach him, or was he kind of actively wanting people to look at Fire in the Library, and you kind of walked up and went, "Yeah, I'll take a look at the game"? I mean, how did that process kind of get set in motion?
So it was kind of maybe an awkward process. Like, throughout this whole like board game design and publishing thing, I've gotten a lot better with people, especially in the last like year or so. So I had played Fire in the Library and started talking with Tony, and he'd go to different publishers and pitch Fire in the Library, and usually what the publishers would say would be like, "Hey, Fire in the Library is great, but I have a push your luck game." And so I can't have two push your luck games. That would be too many push your luck games. So I had like heard him get this feedback a couple times, and that really got me thinking. It was like, whoa, okay, it is a great game. I like playing it, and I don't have a push-your-luck game. I mean, every publisher needs a push-your-luck game, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about working with Tony and how, working with Tony and John would be really awesome. And, like, I just wanted Fire in the Library. Like, I wanted to buy it, okay? So I think I approached him at Gen Con, and I kind of offered to publish it. But I don't think he understood that I was offering to publish it. Because, like, I was still more awkward than I am now. And not as forward. So then I tried again after Stellar Leap. Like, I'd gained the confidence, like, yes, I can kickstart a game. I'm doing this. I'm approaching him. And I was very explicit so that nobody could, like, misunderstand. And
were you dropping kind of subtle hints or something like that? Were you, like, kind of saying to him, well, you know, say somebody decided to publish the game. How would you feel about that? Was that kind of how it went? Was it not just like a direct kind of conversation then?
Well, I think I was like, hey, yeah, I'd publish that. And I think he thought I was joking or like not serious or I don't know.
It's just kind of, I don't know. I guess it'd be like me saying, yeah, I'm going to back Fire in the Library, and you going, yeah, okay. You're either telling the truth or you're joking kind of thing. Or you know, I'm going to buy Weird Giraffe games one day. You know, I'm just going to buy it, and it's going to be my organisation going, yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, moving on. I'm smiling and I'm waving at you. But, so that was how that kind of came about. He just, like, you eventually went, no, Tony, I want to publish your game. And he went, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went. Like, yeah, I'm serious about this. And he was like, what? Yes, let's do it. So.
Was it, I mean, when he turned around and agreed, was there part of you that went, yes, we just signed a game? And was there part of you that went, yes, we've just signed a game? And kind of realised the undertaking and everything else that was going to kind of be involved with that?
It was more excitement because, I'd never signed a game before, and I was so looking forward to actually working with Tony and John and, having another designer to, pitch ideas off of, and, it was going to be, all of us working together. I do have, another partner in Weird Giraffe Games, but he's not, so into it. I have to be hey, can we please playtest tonight? Let's do it. Let's playtest this thing. And I can't be hey, let's just playtest for 5 hours.
No, exactly. What are we doing this afternoon? And all of a sudden, all of the chores and everything like that need to get done in the house are miraculously done.
Yeah.
It's either that or playtesting. How does a game play? I mean, Fire in the Library, I'm guessing it is to do with books. I'm guessing it's to do with combustible materials. I'm taking a wild stab in the dark.
So
it could be some kind of ignition process might be involved, and that everything kind of comes together, and there's a smell of smoke, potentially?
Yes, you are basically correct. So Fire in the Library, it's a game for 1 to 6 players, and in the game, you are a librarian that's trying to save books from the burning library before it collapses. So what is important is 1, saving books, and also 2, proving how brave you are in saving the books. Those two are almost equally important, actually. So, there's a variable turn order to the game, where the person that has the lowest score, they get to choose their turn order first. And if you go first, you are, rushing into the library, you're not looking around, you are being very risky, and if you manage to save books while you're risky, you are going to get more points than you otherwise would. If you went, 5th, you would not get your bravery points. But it's also riskier. So, when you're actually going into the library is a bag, and you're going to pull tokens out of the bag. If you pull out a fire token, the fire token is red. You can get 1 fire token in a safe space, or, going back. if you get 1 fire token in a risky space, you've burnt stuff.
All right.
You can get 1 fire token in a safe space and you're fine, but if you get 2 total fire tokens, you've also burnt stuff. So you want to stop before you end up burning everything. But like the first turn order card, like it only has 1 safe space. After you put a cube in that space, you know, if you pull out a fire cube, you've burnt. Like, that's how it is. There are also tools that you have that can help mitigate your luck or change, like, the gloves. They change all risky spaces to safe spaces while still giving you those bravery points. There's the bucket that can just, like, put out a fire if you have gotten too many fire tokens. But yeah, like, as you're going along, you decide when you want to escape the library. And if you do escape the library early and don't go risky, you get to grab a tool on the way out. And then you tally up all your book points. So the book points, in the beginning, all the books range from 1 to 4 points. There's 4 different book types. There's white, black, yellow, and purple, which correspond to history, geography, fables, and war, I believe. I know what they are, but like sometimes my mind goes a little like crazy. But yes, so each one is a different value. And as imagine that you burnt some books. Okay, it's a sad day, but if you burnt like a bunch of the history books, what would happen is those history books would be more valuable to players later on. So
oh right, so you're creating kind of like scarcity then. So is it then worthwhile sometimes kind of maybe letting a couple of those good old geography books kind of maybe accidentally set on fire and then allow you to kind of collect more points later on?
Yeah, well, like in the beginning, like your first and second turn, you're not going to get that many points because nothing is worth that much. So during those turns, I tend to just like try to collect tools either from leaving early or just from burning things. So yeah. As the game goes on, things get burnt, but the game will then end if any one section of the library has completely burnt down. And when I say end, like if the person that burnt everything down was the second player, the third player doesn't get to go because the library has collapsed. So you want to kind of weigh that and not burn too much. You want to, have like the ability to save books on your turn and then like burn it down before the next player goes.
Is that where the kind of the push your luck kind of thing goes? Well, as well.
Yeah, the press your luck is kind of in the drawing from the bag, but also towards the end of the game, are you going to press your luck and go later on in the round or earlier and make sure you get your turn? Because if you choose to go too late, you won't get your turn if somebody collapses the library.
How quick is this going to get played? Because this sounds like something that you could maybe turn around in kind of like 25 minutes, half an hour. I mean, can it play even quicker than that? Or is there a certain play time you've designed it for?
So it plays in about 30 minutes. If you do have a large player count and everyone is super cautious, it can go longer than that. Or it could go a lot quicker if everyone is pressing their luck and burning things. I've seen games that go only for about 10 minutes because everyone's like, hey, I'm going to have a big turn. And then, oh yeah, I just pulled 2 fire cubes and I burnt all these things. So yeah, that does happen. And one mechanic in there, that tries to like make the game about the same length is, after everybody has played, their turn, they put their turn order card back in the middle, and then since nobody actually put out the fire, we were all too worried about saving books to deal with the actual problem at hand. The library continues to burn, and one of the sections of the library burns at the end of every round.
Right, okay. When you've been playtesting this, and it sounds like you've been playtesting this, have you been kind of involved in, have you had to go back to like say Tony and John with feedback on the playtesting that's been done in order or are you been more involved in, I guess that's the question. Are you been involved in kind of working on improving the game as it's gone, or have you left that kind of like to Tony and John to do?
Oh, I've definitely been like really involved with the development process. I'm the game developer, so that's kind of what I've been doing. I do go back to them when I'm like, hey, this happened in a playtest, and I had this idea. Which way do you think is better? Like, I don't know. And I do talk to them about all the changes, and like I ask them to playtest and tell me what they think of the things I've changed. Because I did do actually quite a bit with the game. Like, I didn't change how the library worked or how the bag worked, but I added in a tool deck. And before, when Tony and John had it, every player had 4 of the same tools, and they got to use those tools during their turn. But I changed it into a tool deck and added well, now there's 10 different tools in the game. Hopefully we'll meet more with stretch goals, and I'm really excited about that. But yeah, there's 10 different tools. Some of them, like the bucket, that just puts out a fire on your turn. That was Tony or John, and we just took that straight and put it into the game. But some of them, like the slingshot, that was a new idea. And there was like a lot of them, like, I think the gloves were also one of their ideas in the library cart. But the amulet. So the amulet is one of my favorite, tools to play because it's also more of a push your luck sort of thing. So what the amulet does is you play it before any player has chosen a turn order card. And you get to draw a certain number of cubes out of the bag, equal to the number of players. And then you can put 1 cube on each of the turn order cards. So it makes choosing turn order more interesting. And it also changes the distribution in the bag. So if you get a lot of books and you put a lot of book tokens on the turn order cards, maybe you should go last. Just because if you go first, then those book tokens aren't in the bag, and that person's percentage of getting a fire token is much higher than it otherwise would be. But if you take out a lot of fire tokens with the amulet, you should go first, because then you can most likely choose a book, but then the fire tokens are out, and you have a better day, usually.
I mean, is it strange being on this side, being on the developer side of things? Because before, I mean, you were able just to say, right, I'm gonna change this, and this is going to be changing it. Have you had to be a little bit more diplomatic when it came to making changes? Are there stuff that you would maybe like to see kind of even more changed, or have kind of like held off because actually it's, you know, you have to respect kind of what's happened with the previous design stuff?
So I wouldn't say that there was anything that I'd rather change about the game. I made the game into the game I really love playing, and so there was nothing in there where I was like, oh, I should change this, but that's John or Tony's thing, so I'll just leave it. That didn't happen. There were things where like I did like approach them and talk to them about different things, and kind of let them decide on whether we were changing that or not, or like taking into account all their opinions, because like they are good designers. So I really enjoyed working with them. Like me and Tony are really close. Like we've actually we met in person a couple times at conventions. I actually visited him over Thanksgiving, and I got to meet his family and stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, if I have an idea, I'm just gonna tell him, like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't have any, like, reservations, really, and, like, I hope that he doesn't have any reservations with me, and he's, like, if he sees, like, something he doesn't like, he'll just say it, and that's happened before, where he's like, hey, I think this should be like this, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it should probably be like that.
What's it been like in terms of getting the word out then? Because you mentioned earlier on that you've got a team that's actually helping you kind of get the word out on this. Has it been easier to approach people and say, hey, do you want to talk about the game? Or, hey, can I come on your podcast? Or, hey, would you like a kind of a review copy? Has that been easier since, obviously, the success of Stellar Leap?
Yes, it's been, like, so much easier. Well, like, one, like, talking to you the first time, I was like super nervous. But since I had talked to you about Stellar Leap, you know, I was just like, hey, do you want me on again? Like, it was much less like just thinking about it and me being in my head. Like, so like everyone that I had interviewed with for Stellar Leap, I was just like, hey, I'm doing a thing. Do you want me on again? And I think most everyone said yes. I'm not like, I didn't go over my entire spreadsheet yet. But yeah, like that was so much easier. And also I was able to give my spreadsheet to Tony, and he was willing to go on different podcasts and such and talk to people, which was awesome. So there's like, instead of just me doing all the interviews and stuff like that, then it was Tony as well. And since I've gotten more famous or whatever in the board game community, more people know about me. So I was able just to tweet and be like, hey, do you want to interview me? Just, you know, I'm willing right here. Just ask. So I got to meet a couple new interviewers for this Kickstarter that I didn't even know about before, which is very exciting.
And I noticed, I mean, there was points you were talking about doing, kind of like putting out review copies and things like that to people. Have you had to like put that out in almost like a kind of a bigger basis, like a more of a worldwide basis across not just in the US but across the UK and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I have a reviewer that I really like in Australia. His name is Derek, and I have worked with him for every game, and I will most likely work with him for every game, you know, that I ever create, just because he's an amazing person, and he also writes really good reviews. Like, he's very good with words, which is important for a written reviewer, because then you get the quotes and stuff. So yeah, even though Australia shipping is so expensive, but he's worth it. He's worth it, okay? But I have gone...
I was going to say, here's a fact, okay? Do you know that it's cheaper to ship something from the UK to Australia than it is to ship from one side of Australia to the other?
What? That doesn't make any sense.
That totally makes sense. I know a lot of people that work in logistics, and for a while it was cheaper for somebody to buy something from eBay in the UK than it was depending on which way it was going, because sometimes they go by plane, sometimes they go by boat, but sometimes it was often more expensive. I've told this pure fact. I'm telling you, I'm not just making this up out the top of my head to bake your noodle. This is a truth. This is a true statement. So, but yeah, shipping to Australia, because it's always, if it's going from one side to the other, I'm guessing it's going to go through, well, it's almost like it's a massive place, isn't it? I mean, guess that's what you forget. So going from one side of Australia to the other is going to take a long time if it's going through the mail network. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I also have reviewers in the UK. There's that one board game, like, there's a reviewer group that's UK based that I'm like blanking on. Is it Board Game Exposure?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
So I was able to get in with them, and, one, Lindsay is amazing. That's Shiny Happy Meeples. I was really happy because I kind of requested her first, and she was also interested, so she got the game first, and, I've really liked, just talking with her and whatnot. But yeah, so I did, Board Game Exposure, and, it's like Big Boss Battle, I think. His name is Matt. I don't know if you know him. Yes. So I went with 2 people. Oh, actually 3. There's also Katie. Katie's Game Corner. Yeah. So I also went with a lot more reviewers this time. So for Stellar Leap, I believe I made 10 reviewer copies. But for Fire in the Library, I made 20. One, just because I really want Fire in the Library to do really well. But also, making the Stellar Leap review copies, like, those were like $50 each. Like, it was non-trivial amount of cards in the box. But with Fire in the Library, it was a lot less. It didn't cost as much. It might have cost, like, I made some mistakes in making the prototype, actually, because I physically made all the boxes. But it was a learning experience, I guess. I now know why boxes cost so much to buy. So, but just because I had I knew so many reviewers from both Super Hack and Stellar Leap, I kind of have my core group of reviewers that I'm going to be using every time.
Yeah.
But I went out and I tried to find new people as well, because it's always good to just know more reviewers and know you want your core group because you want to make sure hey, I need to have 5 reviews done by the Kickstarter. That just is necessary. It's not necessary, but I want to show that people like this game, and one way to do that is just to have good quotes from reviewers. So you have to have that core group, but sometimes people just get busy, and you also should branch out when you're a publisher, just so you just have a hopefully giant list of reviewers that you like and about and are still good and doing reviews, because not everyone is going to be doing Kickstarter reviews all the time. For instance, I went with Mandy and Carol for their chit chat for Stellar Leap, and since then they've stopped doing Kickstarter reviews, which is sad, but it happens.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with, I guess, is there's more and more Kickstarters happening. I guess as soon as you put your head above the parapet and say, hey guys, we'll do reviews, then you're getting inundated. I mean, even though we don't do reviews, I must get at least, at the beginning, probably nothing. At the beginning, I would probably be chasing people to say, hey, guys, you want to come on the show? I think nowadays we're in the situation where we do get a lot of people who want to send us a review copy because to get some kind of exposure, to get people getting an eye on the product, because a lot of reviewers are very, very busy, and they're, you'll know yourself, their workaround time isn't weeks. It's usually, it's usually months now. You really need to be getting in with your copy to a reviewer in order for them to even be able to dedicate the time to to play it first of all, and then to put together some content, which is another thing that has to get taken into consideration.
Well, yeah, definitely. And there's also reviewers that just, they have things going on in their life. I had asked Married with Board Games to review, and they're like, well, we're moving. So, we'd rather put more time to, the whole moving thing we're doing, and we can't actually dedicate time to, reviewing board games because we have things going on.
No, I know exactly. I mean, the number of times I get... we get, there's people. I have a list of people that I know at some point this year I'm going to have to sit down and we're going to get them on the show. But it's a matter of time, because there's only so many days in a week that you can record, and organising time, and as you know yourself, things happen. I mean, as we said last week, I was wrecked as far as everybody in the house was coming down with flu and stuff. So I've still got a beautiful, wonderful cough. But it's sometimes I've still got a list of people that have said, right, you're definitely coming on the show, and then you're looking at things and going, right, okay, is April going to work? And now I'm looking at May and looking at May's calendar and potentially looking at June's calendar, and before I realise it's going to be 2019 and the whole process is going to start all over again. This is probably me in a roundabout way saying, I'm sorry for everybody who has not been on the show yet. I am trying to get round to everybody as quickly as possible, except Wizards. You're going to be on a list for a long time, people. You can wait forever. Have you decided on a cost? Obviously, if you've got a cost for the game, you're going live tomorrow. Of course you've got a cost for the game. Why am I asking the most stupidest question on this?
Well,
what are you looking at?
So for the base game, it is $19 plus shipping, depending on where you live. But that's actually not that bad of a question, because I was deciding one of my tiers what cost it would be. We were talking about it this morning because we've been going back and forth, what should that cost? I don't know, should it, and that tier was, so we're gonna have, this Ultra edition of the game, and then, there's also, the ability to donate to a library, or, gift to a library. We've changed to gift because there's this Kickstarter rule that you can't do donations, and we're not doing donations. You're buying a product that is getting sent somewhere. But like, so many people were like, you say donation, and I'm like, I've read the rules, I'm not doing the thing. And they're like, but you say the word. And it's like, okay, I won't say the word. I fixed it. There's no word on there that you could find that says donation. So just the things you have to deal with, like, you can't say certain words. Like, even when you're editing your Kickstarter page, if you say the word life, it's like, whoa, you said life. Why are you saying this?
Really?
Yeah, it's a weird sort of thing. There's a lot of things with Kickstarter that it's like, I wish this was different. Well, like on that one, like, so somebody pointed out, they're like, hey, you have a lot of weird spacing on your Kickstarter page. And I'm like, yes, you obviously have never used the Kickstarter editor if you're saying that, because, well, like if you add in a video or an image, it will add in space. And if you delete the wrong space, it will delete that image. It won't like tell you or have a notification or say why the space is there. It just like, it deletes it. And it's also with links. So if you delete a space, you could be deleting your link and you just don't know about it until you go to click on it and it's not clicky and you're like, what? But I made this clicky. Like I remember like for, I think it was either Super Hack or Stellar Leap where I was going in and adding all the links and then deleting all the spaces, and then like there would be no links and I'd be like, what? And I did it like repeatedly until I like figured out like, oh, that's why there's random spaces. Okay. I don't like this. Like I'm a software engineer, okay? Like if you just were like, "Hey, do your Kickstarter page in HTML." I'd be like, "Yes, I can do this and it will look perfect." But with dealing with this editor where it's like, "Yep, you have all these spaces," and I'm like, I don't want to deal with like trying to get rid of the spaces and like having to re-upload pictures repeatedly. So the spaces are there and it's awkward, but I'm just done now.
You said like you're done. Are you excited? I mean, what time is it going live?
So I am very, very excited. Like, well, in the past, like for the last like month or so, I've been going between like being like super excited and like super dreading it and like all the emotions and stuff. But now I'm just like, I've done a lot of things. Like I think like even if I didn't do the things that I want to do for the rest of the night, I think I would be very prepared and the launch would still go well. So yeah, like I am super excited.
That's brilliant. Well, I mean, we wish you best of luck because you were fantastic last time you were on the show, and Fire in the Library sounds like it's going to be hot, to say the least. If people want to keep an eye on where you are on the internet webs, where can we find you? Well, obviously we'll get the link for the Kickstarter, but if people want to find you on the internet webs, where can we find you? Where do you exist?
So on Twitter, I'm at Weird Giraffes. On Facebook, it's Weird Giraffe Games or Carla Kopp if you want to friend or whatever and send me messages. I have a website that's weirdgiraffegames.com. And I also have an Instagram, and I think that is Weird Giraffe Games. But the Kickstarter itself is at fireinthelibrary.com. Like, how cool is that? I'm like the queen of domains. Awesome. I have so many. well, I don't have like so many. I have like 10, but I feel like that's a lot.
I'm the queen of domains. How many domains do you have, Your Majesty? I have 10. That's more like a duchess, isn't it? Don't you? I am the queen of domains. I have 10 domains. The one over in the castle over there, she's got 12. I am your queen. Okay, fair enough. Does she have fireinthelibrary.com? I think she's got waterinthemuseum.co.uk. Well, she does not have that. Send her away, off with her head, and so on and so forth. But what we'll do is we'll make sure that we put the links in the show notes so that we've got notes to show. If you want to keep an eye on what we're doing, and you're wondering like earlier on, why did he not do the intro? Because didn't feel like it. So there you go. Nah. It's my show, my rules, basically. But if you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, you can go to Twitter at We're Not Wizards. You can go to Facebook, We're Not Wizards. You can go to Instagram, We're Not Wizards. You could go to YouTube and search for We're Not Wizards Tabletop Podcast. You can go to find us on the various podcast catchers, which are Acast and Spreaker and Stitcher and Player FM and Spotify. We're on Spotify. I know.
Whoa.
Don't know how that... Yeah, I know. You know. Yeah. That means we get $0.0000001 when anybody even looks at an episode. No, we don't get any money at all. We get nothing. But however, if you do want to support the show and you think somebody is going to enjoy what you've listened to, then please tell them. We always appreciate new ears giving us a listen. If you like to do us even a bigger favour, please jump onto Apple Podcasts and drop us a subscription. If you love us like nothing else on the planet, then please drop us a rating or a review. And as we say, please don't give us a 10 because it makes us big-headed. We're like the really important reference section of the library. We'll just think we're ultra important. But don't give us a 1 because that'll make us cry. And we'll end up like the trashy romance fiction section of the library. Give us a 5 because it's in the middle and it's average. And we are decidedly average. But the person who's not been average today is Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games, who is launching Fire in the Library pretty much tomorrow, or maybe today, or maybe it was yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. But thank you very, very much for coming on, Carla.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I always enjoy talking to you.
It's always good fun. And there's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Carla?
No, we're not.
And the second thing is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from Carla.
Bye, guys.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s. Look, check out Fire in the Library. Stellar Leap was fantastic, very, very successful campaign. Fire in the Library is going to be something which is going to be just, as I said, hot, blazing inferno of magnificence. I am going to use all the fiery adjectives I can get my hands on in the next 2.5 seconds. So check it out. Link will be in the show notes. And yeah, give it a look and see what you think. Because sometimes it's good to read. Sometimes it's even better to try and save a bunch of books out of Burning Library. But until the next time, goodbye.